Where should we begin? Shall I begin? Okay, I'll start. I think I'm quite an optimistic person, and I come out of the conference slightly more optimistic. And I think this is something I was discussing with Dom yesterday, that progress and new technology has always generated anxiety, and so when photography was invented in the middle of the 19th century, everyone thought this would put painters out of business, and when cinema was invented in the 1890s, everyone thought it would put theatre out of business, and when television was invented in the middle of the 20th century, people thought it would put cinema out of business, and that never ever happened. All it did was enrich everything else. And so I think that, there are, of course, worries about AI. I think it's going to be bad news for animators and bad news for illustrators. And there are lots of questions surrounding intellectual property that have to be resolved, and it will take time to resolve it. But I think the creative possibilities, as we've seen with some of the artists today, are extraordinary. And it's truly extraordinary to me that we are just at the very foothills of this new technology, and that even in a year, this is something that came through very clearly with Michael's work, even in a few months, the things we look back on now as cutting edge will seem primitive. And that is extremely exciting, and it's exciting to be living through that sort of cultural period. And the final thing I'll say is that when you look back, I'm an art historian, and when you look back through history, at any given point in time, 99% of art was rubbish, because it's very difficult to produce good art. It's why we value it. And so it's, when we're looking at the art of the past, there's already been a filtering process where lots of the dross has disappeared. But obviously, whenever you're looking at the contemporary art scene, you're seeing it in its kind of raw state. And so when you look at AI content, you see an enormous amount of trash and rubbish and dross. And it's only over time that we begin to realize where the work of value lies. So those are some of my thoughts. Shall we go? Let's go anti-clockwise, Karun.
Sure. Well, this topic was one that I suggested, and it was inserted into our regular program of pre-planned events. But I think it struck me that we were undergoing a particular moment that I think it was worth addressing. I think we will face both changes in art, which I think we can digest, but I think the more important questions are how art can play a great role in navigating what changes to being human might look like. And so I think that has been really exciting to hear addressed, to see creators addressing that. And so I'm taking that away. I'm also taking away this a reinforced interest in the convergence between different technologies. Yeah, I'll answer him in a bit. The convergence in technologies, nanotechnology and AI, robotics, and CRISPR. So. No worries, John. I'll be right back. Yeah, he's really well. So anyway, that's John. He will undoubtedly be frustrated. But yes, so I wanted to also thank all the students as well as our crew, who's been really helpful in getting everything prepared for us, but especially the speakers have been so gracious to say yes to us and come all this way. So thank you so much.
When you proposed that we were all going to talk, I wrote up 3 terms, and I'm going to quickly rapid fire through them and attempt to explain my thought process without taking up too much time, because we have a 20-minute block and stuff like that. But the first term really on my behalf is acknowledgement, because I came definitely to emphasize a skeptical, very critical perspective towards AI. And I think I used the term yesterday to describe, it seems like there's a lot of fun being had out there. And you have my acknowledgement as an art historian, whatever that amounts to, one master's student from the University of Victoria who isn't really that voiced in AI art and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have term number 2, skepticism, which is still I still kind of side towards what Anthony's presentation was, that there is still a human element in art that will forever be important, and above all, the secret term 3, consent, which has come out a lot in different presentations, in terms of conversations that we've been having. I specifically think about Michaela's presentation and the survey results, where there was a substantial amount of people who said, well, I don't even know whether or not I'm even using art or using AI at like a base level for their work production. Like, if surveillance capitalism is a black box in this circumstance, and a great theft has already been happening under our noses without really our consent via, or technically our consent buried deep into terms of service and conditions and stuff like that, then I think there is a lot of fun being had right now, but we should be wary of whether our toes are being stepped on. And I don't have too much else to say other than that. And thanks for all the wonderful presentations, and thanks and congratulations to my fellow students.
Oh, straight over. Okay. Yeah, just a quick note to say, I think it's been, from my perspective, really fascinating to have met the students. I think this has been really interesting for me, to meet students coming from different disciplines, and of course that also extends to a larger appreciation of the perspectives of the art historians and the philosophers in this group, and the different stakeholders from different vantage points, in addition to the wonderful presentations about emerging art and art projects. I just have really noticed that there's a real transcendent feel for me about this. It feels like art has been the lens that we've been asking these questions through, but the questions have been very large and have like gotten outside of art only, and that for me is very refreshing. So I've really appreciated that, and it's also just been really has been a company of ideas approach. Like I feel like it has really been about the ideas, and I've been to a lot of gatherings and conferences, and that's not always true. So I just want to thank everybody for bringing all their energy to all of this, and for creating this amazing space.
I'm going to follow up on that, because I can't not say many things to everyone who makes this happen, because it's what an amazing space to exchange ideas, and great ideas to be exchanged. Because I got here, this is not AI, it's not my thing. I'm not even researching contemporary art. I'm stuck in the 16th century most of the time. So I got here with a few ideas, a few questions. Now I got a few answers and even more questions, and even more thoughts, so much to digest, and yes, just so much great material and great company, multiple senses. So just thank you to everyone.
I guess one thing I think about that we didn't talk too much about, I think, is just like using AI also, and just being honest of its use. And I think like I don't have like I think that we could do really great things with AI. So just saying when you're using it, I think, is the big thing. And I think that this idea of like having to lie about it is probably where a lot of issues stem from. And then also just like embrace the weirdness of AI before it gets perfect. I think it's like so fun to see all like the weirdness that it produces, and yeah. Okay.
Oh, hang on a second. I wanted to go through the back row because we don't want to forget them.
Is this working? Yeah? I found it all really fascinating and totally enjoyable. But personally, I think I belong in the 19th century. Computers are a stretch for me. But I like my electric guitar. But I think, I think there's real possibilities with AI. And I really loved Ada. I fell in love with Ada. So No, it's been sort of an eye opener to things, and so thanks everyone. And, you want to say anything?
I knew nothing about AI until I was here. So I'm glad that I came. Yeah. So.
My mind is full. I had a great day here. I really wish I came yesterday as well. So thank you, everybody who brought your stuff to Hornby Island. As a filmmaker, I've been thinking about this stuff a lot from afar. I now realize I have to get involved because this is unfolding as we speak. There's a couple of sobering forces that still seem stronger than every other force, and it kind of ties a whole bunch of things together, from the decolonization aspect, which I think was really powerful. It made me go, wait a second, we've developed this fourth industrial revolution and we're not ready for it? Because that's what that tells me, that everything we're scraping is wrong and we should give ourselves another 100 years to correct it before we start scraping it, or create the plugin called Yeah But that recontextualizes everything that's what I was thinking about. That'll be my startup. Any investors want to come over here. But the dominant thing I'm thinking about right now is that feels like the reason for this problem, and the reason for the problem of not foreseeing the disadvantages of the internet when that tidal wave came, when we were only seeing the positive and how it would connect us all, and Arab Springs and all that kind of stuff that we could see coming, but all the stuff we didn't see coming, the polarization, is that there's still one force that's stronger than everything, and that is the corporate interest force. That is going to kill us, isn't it? This is a problem. If it's more important for the corporation to get it, if, as we were talking about at lunch, if Getty Images is suing OpenAI out of one mouth, and out of the other mouth is making the deal that they'll make, of course, because there's a huge financial incentive for them to let them scrape the catalog, then who are we in that negotiation? We're being skipped over on both sides of it. Anyway, so skeptic, but now more involved, I guess.
Sit on.
Thank you all for coming to the Jeffrey Moss Culture Park. I'm really glad we were able to be here and experience it. The weather worked out for us because it's been a cool, wet spring here. Like a few of these people, I didn't really know too much about AI, and I really enjoyed hearing about IDA and the real world implications, and what's actually being done. There's a lot of great papers on the philosophy behind the AI, but what grabbed me about IDA is here now. There's a robot with doing real AI stuff. It's not just out there in the ether. It's something that you can see, touch, and experience. So I would like to thank all of you for wonderful papers and coming to Hornby Island.
Yeah, for me, as anyone living right now, but also as a student in a university setting, AI is like at the forefront of everyone's mind, discussion, classroom dynamics, and I find it's always like aggressively divisive, and either people are super wary or really enthusiastic, and I've just felt so grateful over the past few days to be immersed in such a generative but constructive and open dialogue around AI and its really, really abundant implications. I found it really refreshing. So thank you all.
Hi, I want to thank everyone for coming here and being able to enjoy this with all of us. What I found really fascinating about AI, specifically AI in art, isn't it phenomenal that as human beings, we create a machine, especially with IDA, but in general, I think it's quite remarkable and quite sweet, honestly, that we create technology to create art. I think that there's such a strange human aspect to the fact that we love art and creativity so much that we create technology to perpetuate it. And of course, there are many conversations surrounding the ethics of it and the yes and the no's and the do's and the don'ts, and those are all very important. But at its base, I think it is such a sweet, sweet concept that we at our core level as humans, value art so much that we create things to make art. It just is a kind of funny idea and concept, and I appreciate it on a purely soft level, I guess. I appreciate that idea. Obviously, there's things to consider regarding ethics and all that, which, of course, we have all talked about this weekend, but I just think that's a very nice concept. So, yeah, thank you, everyone, for coming.
So I want to start by saying thank you. I have been lucky to come for a few years, and the first year, 3 years ago when I was here, I looked at the program, read the abstracts, talked to a few people, and thought, oh my God, these people are incredible, and that's terrifying, And every year I feel like I've changed a little bit more, and it may have taken me a little time, but by this year, I read the abstracts, I was able to speak with people, and I thought, these people are incredible. I'm so lucky to be here and learn so much, and so thank you for engaging with me. I think that's a real privilege. In terms of my response to where I might go next with the information we've begun thinking about, a lot of what I've been reading and studying relates to space, Henri Lefebvre's production of space, avant-garde approaches to Euclidean and non-Euclidean geometry, topography, etc. And this theme of space in AI is really interesting to me. I don't know the technicality of what latent space means, and I want to find out. And I also think it would be really interesting to look at Ada's art as I would the art produced by artists who I study. So I was interested in the Shattered Space series, and I thought it would be interesting to explore Ada on her own terms as though she were a real artist, not just a phenomenon. So studying perhaps the influence from the so-called artisanal data, which I think Kate nicely maybe coined or used, maybe from the prompt, and then also from her own interpretation, because that's how I would write about the art of another artist. So maybe I'll write that.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to echo what everybody has said. I'm so incredibly grateful to have this opportunity to be here and to enjoy and just really just be absolutely amazed by every single paper. Like every single person just was fantastic and brought so much discussion and so many different angles and perspectives to the table. So, and if I am living in a simulation, I'm kind of wondering what the person running it is thinking right now, because I would be, pretty bad. And I guess one thing I've been thinking is that perhaps there's something that AI hasn't quite mastered, and that's empathy. And I think that's something that is so, so important that we don't forget. And I mean empathy for each other and empathy for our ideas, but also empathy for the world. And I mean, we're on this amazing, amazing, beautiful landscape. So empathy for the world around us too. And I think, perhaps there's a way that we can ensure that if we do go forward with AI, that we can make sure that that part of us doesn't get changed by AI. It's just quite cheesy, but thanks.
I think this forum left me with a kind of mixed bag sense of curiosity, excitement, but also anxiety and uncertainty about this new technology. And it's not a comfortable feeling to be in, but I feel one thing that's comforting is to know that I'm not the only person having this feeling. I'm in the company of you. I guess it's a shared feeling that we're having after the 2 days of discussion. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity to be here. And thank you, everyone, for your wonderful ideas. I feel much more informed in this uncomfortable state of feeling. And thanks to everyone for running this program. Yeah.
It's been an awesome experience, from the seaplane ride to meeting everyone here, and it's just been lovely. Thank you so much, James and Karun, for organizing this, and thank you everyone for coming here and giving such excellent talks and for the awesome conversations. Thank you, and I have a lot to think about. I still need to process a lot of this information, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your interesting presentations. Still difficult for me, James. But it's been wonderful meeting you all, and I hope that you all really enjoyed it and will take away a lot. And the sculpture park will be a part of you now. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah, Jeff would have never imagined this Company of Ideas topic. I think he could have in his own way, but I think that it's taken this many years of having forums to get to this place where we can have this conversation. It's definitely opened my eyes as well. I'm still very skeptical, but I feel like when you're working in the cultural field, you have to be open to new ideas. So it's been very informative for me. I think it's also just affirmed for me the work that I do with living human artists.
Thank you so much, really everyone. But I have to say thank you to Karun, because our meeting about our Rubinoff projects in London just basically led me to join this meeting. And I had no idea we were going to discuss AI at that point, but Karun graciously just say, would you like to come and so I said, yeah, without really thinking much about it. I just had a wonderful feeling. And I came here and without really knowing so much about AI at all. And I didn't know what to think about it, how to incorporate in our practices, how to ensure artists and arts organizations with the correct information and directions. But now I feel like, yes, like what you said, I have more questions, but also many answers I have too. And realizing that, this AI is something that made me really realize that, creativity is a privilege. I didn't think about that, but it is a privilege. Being able to create something, develop something, and appreciating something is a privilege, and that's something, ironically, I get to appreciate more through the technology and AI, and that is, I think, also what Ada also proved at the point too. So again, thank you so much for hospitality, and Rubinoff is great, and all the sculptures and about the counterpoints, and this whole thing somehow thematically meeting together to me, telling about counterpoint about every single thing that we do and we are learning. So thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone here on Hornby for hosting us. It's so lovely to be back. Thank you for letting me come back a second time. Just thinking about last year's theme and this year's theme and future themes, like everyone's talking about, this space is it's very different than other conferences, as we have discussed. And the theme changes, we'll probably have to have this conference every single week for the rest of our lives to just keep up with everything that's going on. But I'm really looking forward to keeping in touch with everyone and seeing where the rest of your projects take you. So thank you so much for sharing all of your ideas with us.
What, is this the end? There's no way I'm getting on some stinking ferry and going back to Vancouver. Let's just stay here. No, seriously, it's not the end. This is the beginning. There's more tonight. But I want more than tonight. I think you guys have planted a seed. I think you guys have done something very sneaky and clever, which is find the moment, the idea for the moment, find the people who would be willing to float some thoughts that they have, give them plenty of social time so that they can interact around those thoughts, but also build a community. right? So I know that's what you've been doing, which suggests that there's a future. And I just would like to propose that maybe what we've done in this seed conference is identify the gaps that need to be filled by other scholars to join the community. So I would love to hear more from engineers, from computer scientists about the nuts and the bolts of things. I think that most of us are talking pretty blind to that, and it's really important. I think it would be good to have people from the sciences and philosophy of mind. So we've been floating ideas like emotion and empathy and consciousness. Do you guys, any of you know what that stuff is? So we could bring in people who can talk about that in an informed and concrete way. I mean, our knee-jerk response is consciousness. Ada's not. Maybe she is. Right. I don't know. What is consciousness? So let's find out. There's been a lot of discussion about ethics, so consent and lying and so on. But I think the ethical issues are really open and really unclear. There are people who work in AI ethics, but I don't know anybody working in AI ethics who's been thinking about AI art. So it'd be terrific to recruit somebody from AI ethics to get them thinking about AI art and join this conversation. There's also been a lot of concerns about the business side of things, right, and labor. We've had words like labor and so on coming up. If that is going to mean anything, it's got to shape policy, and that means having an economist at the table, somebody who can say, okay, this is how you make it in a market system, because we're not escaping the market system. So this is what the policies look like. And that's just a start, right? So these are just the folks who I think should be at this table that occurred to me right away. And I'm sure that you would have suggestions as well. So I hope there's a future to this. I hope this community persists and that we keep in touch with each other and continue to share work and work on this particular topic. So thank you.
Hard act to follow. As a librarian and as an artist, I have left with some questions. I agree with you completely that there's work to be done. I think there's still many questions for me around, as it was addressed by Karun and Sarah, about access, right? Open access is key to this. It unlocks the questions that we have around copyright, so getting more librarians and archivists around the table as well, I think would be really important. There's some critical issues around preservation that I think are also part of this, when thinking about the divide that you spoke to, Karun. I think that's very important, and that is something that I've been thinking a lot about. And, who gets to own the data and how that's given access. I mean, these are really critical questions. And, I'm excited about the curation of data sets, as Kate, as you mentioned. I think there's, again, a real opportunities for libraries and archives as open source institutions to be able to provide those data sets and help with engineers and other folks to, build, wholly new data sets that, defy what we currently believe we know or think we can imagine we can create. Which may go towards solving all the problems that exist in this desert of the real that you have inferred to. So yeah, those are my questions. I want to thank Karun and James for inviting me, for Betty for hosting. I've really enjoyed all the wonderful conversations I've had with all of you. I look forward to more this evening. I want to thank, for being here on this island. It's a very special place for all of us. So thank you.
Yeah, three things. The first is to really acknowledge what an incredible space this is. It is unusual. And I would love to have met Jeffrey. I think it is a really special space. And I think you've got something, what's one hell of a legacy. And as you plan for this space, I think it's a really amazing. I feel very grateful to be here. So my first point is one of gratitude. The second is I'm actually pretty blown away by the students. I've got to say, the conversations I've had and hearing your presentations, I was not anywhere as good as you guys. I mean, you are really, really, really good. And you're so engaged. Blimey. It's really, really impressive. So keep up your amazing work. I feel very, very lucky to have conversations with you. And if the future's in your hands, we're in a safe place. So I really, really think the student element of this forum is critical and important, and for old people like me, really, really lovely to have. So thank you for being here, because I think you're a really valuable part of this. And thirdly was just to see what the ongoing thing is. I don't know what it is, how you keep in touch with the different forums each year. I would love to, if there's a WhatsApp group or something that we can actually see, hey, by the way, look at this, and have conversation as a continued thing. I don't know what the protocols are for ongoing relationships, but I feel very lucky to have met you all, and I would love to continue that.
I feel like I've done enough speaking today. Yeah, I did want to echo the very same sentiment that my big takeaway is that I'm just incredibly grateful to have met and engaged with all of you in this unbelievable place. Coming up here, I had high expectations, but they've been completely blown out of the water. So this really is this will be a really memorable experience for me personally, just the mix of ideas in this incredible environment. And so thank you so much for including me, and also share your point of view that if we can keep this conversation going, these are the kinds of meetings and gatherings that can lead to really long-term impactful relationships. And so I'm very excited about where we take this all. So thank you for having me.
It's my first time to Canada, so it's been quite an amazing way to experience this country. I think I'm kind of never going to be able to top an entry to any other country. It's quite arriving by seaplane and just having experiences like this. And I suppose I've really enjoyed the cross-disciplinary aspect to it. It's been really great sort of hearing philosophical perspectives, art historical perspectives, and sort of seeing sort of artistic things coming through. Just how stimulating that can be. And really taking your point, Dom, just how cross-disciplinary these discussions in the future, for us, but also just globally, it's going to require so many different disciplines and perspectives coming together and working together. And so it's been great having a little microcosm of that. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, it's back to me. And so I just want to finish now we usually have a sort of succession of rounds of applause. So I'm going to thank a series of people. So if we can all share our gratitude for them. First of all, can we give a round of applause to all of the speakers, and also someone who didn't speak, but Alan Antliff, who plays a very important role in selecting the amazing students we've talked about and in bringing them here. So thanks to the speakers and to Alan. Can we also thank Angel Blue, Echo, and Leela? You can see, I don't know if Echo's around, but Angel Blue and Leela are at the back there. This conference is a pretty well-oiled machine, and one of the main reasons for that is the people we have sorting all of these things out, moving the chairs, getting people from one place to the other, constantly resupplying us with food and drink and coffee. This is so important. It's the fuel on which the company of ideas operates. So thank you to Leela, Angel Blue, and to Echo. A lot of people in their comments have remarked on the beauty of the setting, and that is a long way due to John McGilvray, who you can see at the back, who is the man who makes this park look so incredible. A park that gets better almost every year. Can we also thank Marco, who's sitting over there quietly in the back, but he is the person who has recorded you so carefully that you will be haunted by your words for the rest of eternity. Thank you, Marco. We have to thank this hero over here. You know, it is such a Herculean effort to organise an event like this, to get everyone to the island, to deal with all the logistical challenges. And the thing that I say most years, but it always amazes me about Karun, is when he's got so many plates spinning and so much logistical stuff to be doing, no one listens more carefully to every talk. No one thinks about it more carefully. No one is more present intellectually during these events than Karun. I'm astonished how you do it, especially with a 6-year-old baby. So thank you, 6-week-old baby. So thank you, Karun. I'd also like to thank the Jeffrey Rubinoff board. So we've got Chara and we've got Betty. Edgar's not here. And also to Betty for hosting us on your property. I know it must be an exhausting few days of the year. But so much of the food and all those other kinds of hospitality-related things, the connection to Seabreeze is negotiated and sorted out by Betty. It's an enormous amount of work for her as well. So thank you to Betty, to Charo, and to the park for hosting us. And the final and the biggest thank you goes to a man who couldn't be with us today, and that is, of course, Jeffrey Rubinoff. And without Jeffrey, without his extraordinary work, without his extraordinary vision, without his extraordinary generosity, none of this would be happening. So can we please say thank you to Jeffrey?
And of course, we can't forget our fearless leader, the educational program director of the Jeffrey Rubinoff Sculpture Park, James, who basically curates all of the speakers and takes what is a nascent idea and really fleshes it out into something that connects with Jeffrey's concerns. Every year does an incredible job and is just an all-round wonderful guy to be around and to have conversations with. So please give a round of applause for James.